Tonight on Best Bits, Oliveira Tennikov, Factory Reset, Nico Price. Dustin Jacoby obliterated Julius Walker. And Mario Bautista embarrassed Vinicius Oliveira. Welcome back to Best Bits. Look, I hope you enjoyed the intro. I said in the prediction video, this card was going to be a little bit of a slow burner. There's going to be some decent scraps on there. There's going to be a lot of decisions. Have I ever steered you wrong before? We got a lot of decisions on this card, but it was a few decent scraps all the same. The first fight of the night was Claudia Segula versus Priscilla Cachoeira. I said Priscilla Cachoeira's shit. She is shit. She's terrible, awful, can't fight. And Claudia Segula managed to get the unanimous decision just as I predicted. Just better stand-up game. I mean, not much really more to say about that. It was pretty boring. I'll be honest with you, but that's just how it goes. Next fight was Jacob Wichlax versus Ewan Gafarov. We went with Jacob Wichlax. I mean, we didn't think there would be a submission finish. We did think this one was also going to go to a decision. However, was it not in the final second of the final round that he managed to get that submission? Yeah, sure, whatever. Jacob Wichlax by submission. I was certain it was going to go to a decision, and it almost did. Literally, there was a whole debate about it, where, did he tap on the last second? Did he not tap on the last second? But he did. He tapped on the last second, and so the win was awarded as a submission victory to Jacob Wichlax. But yeah, decent fight, actually. Decent little back and forth scrap. Quite an entertaining fight, especially on the prelim. It got us kind of yeah, hell yeah, getting in there. Next fight, Kong Wang versus Edward Morda. I was more confident than I should have been in Kong Wang. I feel like this fight, she had a few moments where she was looking kind of poor. But yeah, she managed to get it done. She pushed through the adversity and got it done. I was worried. I was worried for a minute there. I like Kong Wang. I'm a fan of Wong Tong, as they refer to it on the commentary, but I call it Kong Wang because that's a way cooler name, like the King Kong of Wangs. But yeah, I thought she'd do it more handily, but she didn't manage to get the victory either way. So I'm not, beggars can't be choosers. I can't complain. I literally said it would be a decision win, and it might be a little bit closer. So yeah, maybe closer than I anticipated, but basically the same prediction, was it not? So yeah, we did pretty well coming right out the gates on them prelims, didn't we? Then we had Jafet Basharat versus Giovanni Vasquez. Feel like this was a short notice replacement, if I do remember correctly. But yeah, so we went with Javad Basharat anyway. Fighting a short notice opponent. Mate, I feel like Giovanni Vasquez actually put a beating on Javad Basharat and maybe even won. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. I felt like he was doing a lot better than he should have been against Javad Basharat. I feel like, again, Javad Basharat is the worser of the two brothers, even though he's the older brother. But Gianni, what a guy. Absolutely entertaining fight. He got dropped in round 1, came back, dropped Basharat in round 2, and it would look like it was over. It really did look like it was over, but Basharat hung in there and just kind of ate the shots with his head. Just kind of was like, yep, I'm just going to get bonked around for a little bit and hopefully I'll recover in time. But he did. He recovered. The strategy paid off in the end. He did recover. And it was actually a pretty entertaining fight back and forth. I thought Gianni had won. I did. I thought Gianni had won. And I was like, no, my picks. But then I was also like, that's pretty damn good. Bearing in mind, he was doing this with primarily just boxing work. He was just boxing his way in, he's faking his shots. It was pretty good. Quite entertaining. But Javad Basharat gets the decision victory. I'm not a fan of Javad Basharat, but whatever. Who was he supposed to be fighting? Because I wasn't a fan of his Javad Basharat. He was supposed to fight Saeed Nurmagomedov. See, yeah. We picked Saeed. I'm fairly sure we picked Saeed Nurmagomedov. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I would have picked Javad Basharat against Gianni Vasquez, but I actually think Gianni Vasquez won the fight, so whatever. But Javid Basharat walks away with the decision victory, even though I do slightly disagree. On to the next one. We had Ketlin Souza versus Bruno Brazil. I feel like this is the first one I got wrong, because I think I went with Bruno Brazil. And Ketlin Souza managed to win it. I'll be honest with you. I saw the writing on the wall. First round, when Bruno Brazil got pushed up against the fence and was just kind of getting held there. I saw the writing on the wall. I got up and I went and I made myself a bagel. So basically what happened was I cut this bagel in half, full bagel, cut it in half, down the middle as you do. I opened that bad boy up. I turned on the grill. I put some lovely thick Kerrygold butter. Put some nice and thick Kerrygold butter on there, on both sides. Obviously on both sides of the bagel. I didn't butter 4 sides of the bagel. I buttered 2 sides, but each half of the bagel. Put them under the grill. Turn that bad boy right up. Get them nice and toasted. And while I was doing that, I went and searched for the cream cheese. The soft cheeses, the ones that are really bad for you, but are just so nice. So I got some of them. Got them out for myself. When I looked, I had some lovely boiled ham from the butchers that I had procured earlier in the day. So I got that nice ham, got that cream cheese, and ate that hog. Put that hog on the bagel. I've had the cream cheese there, then I put it back in the grill to kind of warm that cheese up a little bit, and then I just put the ham on cold. I felt like the ham on cold wouldn't be that bad of a maneuver, and you know what? I was right. Wasn't the healthiest of bagels I've ever eaten. But it's a bagel, so is it supposed to really be healthy? So I made a bagel, came back midway through round 2, and I swear to God they were in the same position that they were in when I left. I left more or less at the start of round 1, came back towards the later end half of round 2, and I swear to God Bruno Brazil was being held in the same position. I don't even think they stopped in between rounds. I think they were just like, yeah, let it keep going. They haven't even really done anything yet. Just keep the timer going. We'll just roll straight into round 2. But yeah. So came back with my bagel, sat back down. I was like, wow, they really haven't moved. And then they proceeded not to do anything for the rest of the fight. Bruno Brazil was at least making space and landing shots when it was available. But I can't just say, Ketlin Souza didn't do anything. Ketlin Souza just held Bruno Brazil against the fence for a full fight pretty much. And then I suppose in the last round, it got a little bit more entertaining. Ketlin Souza was throwing a bit more, and we were opening up, and she was catching Bruno Brazil. But it was a whole situation of, well, why weren't you just doing that from the start then if you were capable of doing that? Well, who knows? Maybe she had to tire Bruno Brazil to get her there. Who knows? I thought Bruno Brazil won the fight. If we're talking about, actually dealing damage, if damage wins fights, then I feel like Bruno Brazil probably did just a little bit more damage in each round. Maybe I should go back and take a look at the stats, but Ketlin Souza got the win. We did pick Bruno Brazil. Maybe I'm just coping. But that does make us what? That makes us 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll count Javid Basharat. So what? We're 4-1 on the picks so far. We'll take that. Next up was Nikolai Veretennikov versus Nico Price. Nico Price got absolutely bonked, man. It was a bit rough. He was out on his feet. He was stood there getting his head punched in. He got chin with a right hand, ate a knee, and then ate, I think it was a left hook. But he was out on his feet, man. He was another right hand, I think, and he was just facing away from his opponent, staring through the cage, thinking about I don't know. He was seeing Tweety birds. That kind of scenario, and then the ref stopped it. He was out on it. He was unconscious standing. Very rare you see it, but it's always interesting to see. The ref stops it because he's out on his feet. He's outstanding. He's unconscious while remaining standing. The ref comes and stops it, and then Nico Price is like, "What? Come on! I'm not dead yet. I'm still standing." So, yeah, only because the fence is propping you up though. But yeah, absolutely sick fight. Decent little back and forth. I think Nico Price is a bit crazy trying to go toe to toe with Nikolai Veretennikov, but that's how it goes. Nikolai Veretennikov in the clinch is a scary dude, man. A scary dude. Those knees in the clinch. It's like he even enters the clinch, to close the distance and get into a clinch. He'll just throw a knee. He'll just jump in with a knee and grab a hold here. It's great. I actually really like it. Great style, great proactive style. But yeah, Nikolai Veretennikov gets it done. It was an elbow, that was it. So he hits him with an elbow with a knee. I think was it. It was. I think it was an elbow, a knee, and then some punches for a standing TKO. It was pretty good. Pretty good. The next fight was Daniel Donchenko versus Alex Morono. I think we picked Alex Morono for this one as well. So yeah, that's like what 5-2, 5-2 on picks with this fight. I don't know. I thought Morono would get it done. It was a decent scrap, to be fair. Morono was working with one less leg by halfway through the second round. But it was a gutsy fight, a gutsy back and forth. Morono got his leg chewed up, man, and he was just finding it hard to really do anything without that leg. But yeah, it was a good back and forth. Both guys had each other hurt. Obviously, Donchenko had Morono hurt a few more times than the other way around. But I liked that they even did like a BMF type, like we're in the middle, let's straight and bang. And I'm fairly sure Morono got knocked down in that exchange, but did not. The fight did not end. Oh no, you know what I'm thinking of? That was later in the cards. I'm getting confused. Am I? I feel like I'm getting confused. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I think I am getting confused because I think that was I'm absolutely confuddled. Yeah, Morono got his leg chewed up. Now that I know what I'm up to, now that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Morono got his leg absolutely mangled, man. A lot of people had this going to be a TKO for Donchenko, but I did say it was going to go to a decision either way. But we did get the prediction wrong. We did pick Alex Morono to get it done. I was going to rely on the experience, but I feel like the experience is what helped him survive that fight, to be honest with you. Both guys are tough. I mean, Alex Morono had no leg from like halfway through the second round onwards. Had one leg, and honestly, I think he performed better with one leg, which is crazy to say. But yeah, decent fight, decent back and forth. Not as good as the fight I was thinking of, but that comes a little bit later. You know, now we're going on to the main cards. Okay, main card time. That's Daniel Donchenko getting the unanimous decision over Alex Morono. Next up was Justin Jacoby versus Julius Walker. Decent scrap, to be honest with you. Jacoby just absolutely brutalized Julius Walker. I don't know what to say about it. Absolutely brutalized Julius Walker. Just chew them up and spat them out. I don't know. I felt like I expected a little bit more from Julius Walker. I'll be honest with you. I really felt like I was expecting a little bit more from Julius Walker, but yeah, it wasn't very convincing. I'll be honest. It wasn't very convincing at all. And yeah, the referee gave him every opportunity to survive as well. Got dropped bad multiple times. I think it was 2 or 3 times. Got dropped bad and probably should have been finished right there. But the ref let it go on a little bit longer, so he got given every opportunity to come back into the fight. Didn't manage to do it. A pretty hard fought, just for the fact that he had to do it multiple times. Finish his opponent twice in one fight. Justin Jacoby gets it done though. Lovely little TKO finish on the ground. Next up was Farid Basharat versus Gene Matsumoto. I don't like the Basharats. I went with Gene Matsumoto. We did get another one wrong. What can I say? I mean, or did I? Did I pick Farid because I know he's the better brother? No, I did. I picked Farid, so no, we didn't get this one wrong. We didn't get this one wrong on the predictions, but we were unhappy that we picked them. But yeah, Farid Basharat, split decision. It could have gone. Maybe it couldn't have gone either way, but it was a decent scrap. I mean, yeah, I thought Farid was going to win by a decision. I think I even said it was going to be a closer decision. I don't think I was as bold as to pick a split decision, but yeah, I did say it would go to a decision. Farid Basharat doesn't really finish dudes that often anyway, and he's tough to finish, so I could see it going to a decision. But yeah, split decision for Farid Basharat, not too bad for Farid. That's makes him like 15-0. It's a shame he's like only getting decision victories. He'd be a lot more of a star if he could put together like some decent like finishes, like a string of finishes. A couple of like just maybe two finishes back to back. Star power right there for Farid Basharat. Decent scrap, decent attempt from G Matsumoto. Nothing to scoff at, really. Nothing to scoff at, really. Nothing to scarf at, really. No, nothing to scoff at, really. It was a decent back and forth fight. But Farid Basharat just too too cerebral, too high level in the striking, and just managed to pip Gene Matsumoto to the post in that fight. Next up was Michael Olajenchik versus Marc-Andre Barriault. We went with Marc-Andre Barriault, I do believe, and honestly, I felt like he was doing pretty well in that fight. He had moments. I think what it was that he was winning like late in the round, so he got absolutely dominated round 1, or was it round 2? It doesn't matter. He was getting dominated, and then towards the end of the round, say a minute 30 seconds, he would come back strong, and he would put a nice little like explanation point at the end of the round, but he hadn't won the round. So I think there was a lot of people watching the fight who were like, Marc-Andre Barriault stealing each of these rounds. Like, you know, he's stealing the rounds at the end. He's stealing the rounds at the end. He's probably going to win this decision 2-1. But no, or maybe it'll be a split decision. No, Michael Olajenchik won the fight. I feel like he was more consistent throughout the fight. I think this is where it comes from. So where Marc-Andre Barriault was having these moments where he was looking really dangerous and really powerful, and like, you know, he had Olajenchik hurt. I think like twice in the fight. Obviously couldn't finish it, but was firing back, was staying competitive, and then was trying to put like a stamp on each round to kind of steal each round, and it just wasn't enough. Obviously some people were convinced, but it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough for Marc-Andre Barriault to kind of steal each round. But I could see that's where the confusion comes from, because I remember watching, I think it was round 2. I remember watching the end of round 2 and being like, yo, he could have stole that round. And then it popped up with like the strike count, and I was like, yeah, actually, to be fair, he's probably not won that round. But yeah, I could see where the confusion came from. Nonetheless, it was a decent scrap. It was a decent back and forth scrap. It really was. It was actually pretty entertaining. They even did like a whole. This is the fight I was talking about where they traded in the middle at the end. But yeah, it was fun. Fun fight. Actually, a decent little scrap. Decision goes to Michael Olajenchik, but I don't think it was a bad performance from either of them. In fact, probably one of the more entertaining fights on the card, if we're being honest, even though it went to a decision. Next up was Rizvan Kuniev versus Jailton Almeida. I went with Rizvan Kuniev in the predictions. I don't know why I did it, to be honest with you. I went with Rizvan Kuniev. I don't know why I went with Rizvan Kuniev. I feel like I was trying to play it smart, and I had this kind of vision that Jailton Almeida would be able to submit Rizvan Kuniev, and then I was suddenly like, no, Rizvan Kuniev isn't going to get submitted by Jailton Almeida. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So it was a bit of an interesting one. But yeah, I'm glad I switched up. I am glad I switched up. And you know what? It's good to see a bit of something different at heavyweight, isn't it? It wasn't the most entertaining of fights, but you know, it's not a very entertaining division these days. It's very shallow, lots of blobs, you know. But yeah, Rizvan Kuniev manages to get it done over Jailton Almeida. I did pick him. I can't even remember what my justification was for picking him, but we are still doing good on the picks for the whole card. We've only got 2 fights left. So the co-main event was Horiguchi versus Amir Albazi. We went with Horiguchi because you know that we are biased towards the Japanese fighters. Don't know why. We just are. We like how they fight. Okay, we like how they fight. And Horiguchi at the age of, how old's Horiguchi? 35. Coming in at 35. He's like a fine wine, is Horiguchi. He's like a fine wine, getting better with age, man. Getting better with age. But yeah, kind of made a bit of a mockery of Amir Albazi. But you know, that's how it goes. Absolutely emphatic win for Horiguchi. You know, every time I start to think maybe I need to give up on these Japanese guys, someone like Horiguchi comes along and just makes me fall in love all over again. But yeah, great win. I'm very happy with the win for Horiguchi. One of the fighters I'm more fond of than others. So yeah, that's good to see. That's good to see. But yeah, Horiguchi wins unanimous decision over Amir Albazi. Decent scrap. Probably not one that I would go out of my way to watch back, but I'm just happy Horiguchi gets the victory, to be honest with you. Final fight of the night, the main event. Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira. A lot of people had Vinicius Oliveira winning this fight by knockout for some reason. I don't know what to say. Look, I don't think I didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think Vinicius Oliveira was going to be able to knock out Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista's got some serious skills. Sometimes he has some dodgy performances. Sometimes, it's a little bit from Mario Bautista. Sometimes he's a little bit boring. But he's consistent, and he's remained consistent throughout his career so far anyway. I didn't think that just sending in a guy who can kickbox well. Like, he's got decent kickbox. Vinicius Oliveira is a good kickboxer. I just don't think that was enough. Mario Bautista is one of those guys that's just well-rounded. And he's kind of got that GSP kind of, you're not better than me everywhere, so I'll just find where I'm better than you and play in that area. And that's just kind of what Mario Bautista does. Ends up, how was the end and the finishing sequence that led to the rear naked choke was like Vinicius Oliveira going for like a leg lock on him? We've got going for a leg lock on Mario Bautista. Like, what? You're not. You were supposed to kickbox with him, bro. You were supposed to kickbox with him. But that's just how it goes. But yeah, Mario Bautista, banging performance. Gets out of the leg lock, flips it on Vinicius Oliveira, gets on his back, instantly cinches up the rear naked choke. Instantly, like. Vinicius Oliveira, not even a second to defend it. Not even a moment. It was just instantly under the neck. Vinicius Oliveira was just like, yep, I'm done. Perfect execution. Like, right under the chin. Not even a squeeze. That's the thing. Mario Bautista, well-rounded guy, has great technique. He's getting by on great technique, and you can see that when he sets up a submission like this rear naked choke, where he ends up directly under the neck, and instead of squeezing like a maniac, like we had seen, I can't remember what fight it was. We had seen a submission attempt at the end of a fight. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. There was a submission attempt at the end of a fight, and the guy was just squeezing with his arms, squeezing, trying to get this rear naked choke, and he couldn't get it. But then you've got someone like Mario Bautista who has the technique and knows, like, if I end up under the neck, I'm not going to squeeze with my arms. I'm going to close the gap by inhaling. I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to fill my diaphragm with air, and that's going to close the gap without me needing to burn my arms out. And then I can squeeze as well, and it's going to pop Vinicius Oliveira's head off. And when someone taps, like, immediately, like Vinicius Oliveira did the second that choke was in, that's how you know someone's got perfect technique when it comes to the grappling. Like, extremely good high-level technique when it comes to finishing their submissions. But yeah, entertaining fight. Sorry for everyone that picked Vinicius Oliveira. Too much too soon for him. That's my opinion. But yeah, that does conclude this episode of Best Bits. A little bit of a shorter one. My apologies. There wasn't as much to talk about. There was some alright scraps. There was. Mostly, back and forth. Suppose we can go through like performance bonuses. So obviously, Jacob Whitlock's first finish of the night gets the submission. 1 second left on the timer in the fight. Decent little submission. He gets a performance bonus for that. I think you get a performance bonus for every finish now, right? Every finish? No? Doesn't say Justin Jacoby got a performance bonus on Tapology. Obviously, fight of the night went to Michael Oleksiejczuk and Marc-Andre Barriault, if I can get his name out of my mouth. Pretty decent fight of the night, to be honest with you. Well deserved. It was a decent back and forth. It was an entertaining scrap, to say the least. And then Mario Bautista, with his submission, manages to also get a performance of the night bonus. So, pretty decent night of fights. Obviously, quite a few decisions, not what we want to see, but they weren't by any means boring fights. I think it was a really poor move, stacking the fucking prelim with 3 wins fights. And we have split them up, so it was a women's fight, then a men's fight, then a women's fight, then a men's fight, and then a women's fight, and then a men's fight, and then we just, men's fights. They did try and break them up, but I feel like it would be better off just to put them all at the start of the prelim. We just do women, and then people who don't care, people who aren't like, people who don't want to be fucking bored will just come and watch Kong Wang. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving me a like. I'm going to farm some likes. Subscribe for more content. I do other things sometimes. Sometimes I do tier lists. Very rarely. It's been a while since I've done a tier list, but I do some other goofy stuff, working on some other things. So, subscribe for more content. But until next time, keep your chin down and keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.